Hey guys, so I just got home and I made that video in a parking lot, that last video, because I needed to pull over because I was upset and it's not safe to drive and cry at the same time. But I just wanted to let you know that I'm okay. I know that a lot of you have concern about me and I really appreciate that. It's just something that's really, really important to me. And so when I really get to thinking deeply about it and the reality of it and the things that we don't know too, I get really upset. So that's just what it is. If you've ever had something that makes you really upset, I'm sure you understand that it's something that can kind of come and go. But I'm doing great. And I just wanted to share some information with you guys that's unrelated to the Diva Curl thing and just a little bit more of a sneak peek from the book, some in advance information that you will gain and have on hand with you whenever you have the book with you. In the very near future, our projected launch date is December 2nd, which is Cyber Monday. So we'll do like a whole thing and we'll make sure like it's discounted from the regular price that it's going to be at, which we're keeping as low as possible. That's it's not going to be a super flashy book because then we have to make it more expensive because I don't have a publisher that I'm working with currently. So doing everything like ourselves basically. So we got help with the book cover, which was really nice. And thank you, Kelly, for that. And we're trying to make it work. So, as you add costs, you have to increase price. So trying to keep costs down. Really, it's information. It's the information that's going to be valuable to you. It's a lot like this channel. Like it's not flashy. There's no theatrics. It's just, I want you to learn and I want to make it as simple as possible for you. And it's a lot more simple than my videos are because I don't go rambling on like this. Anyhow, so I wanted to talk to you about normal porosity and the spectrum of normal porosity. And so the cuticle, right? I think there's a lot of confusion around what, like the cuticle being closed versus being open. So how does porosity differ within a normal level? So a normal cuticle, a normal functioning cuticle, it is going to raise and it's going to lower. And I think that we need to maybe stop saying open and close because it doesn't close all the way. Its resting position when it's sealed in water and anything else, it's not sealed completely shut. That would be low porosity, which struggles to open at all, would be sealed tightly shut. So those shingles on the roof, which the shingles example, that's cool. Shingles on a roof, that's what they look like, but they're not shingles because they move. So they aren't set in place unless it's destroyed, then they're permanently open. The cuticle will need to be completely destroyed. There's no way to bring it back to normal function. Low porosity hair that doesn't let water in so that it can then absorb and then the cuticle can start to be pushed open. As the inside of the hair strand absorbs water, the cuticle is pushed open more. So low porosity hair, as it starts to absorb moisture, by using like warm water, lots of warmth to try to get the cuticle open, because warm water helps to open up the cuticle, then it will start to move toward a normal porosity. And it can stay that way as long as you keep your behavior and the things that you use in check. But normal porosity ranges from low to high, and it's changing all the time. It's affected by our environment, it's affected by the products that we're using. And so we can't say that we have a constant porosity and not every hair strand on your head is going to be the same. So the cuticle is going to be in different condition in different places. For some people, this is very dramatic. Like you might have a damaged part of your hair that's more porous than another part. So I want to really just break it down simple, but I think the problem is people haven't been given enough options to understand like the condition of their hair. They're being given like low, high, normal, if even that. And so you do process of elimination and you can end up putting yourself in the wrong category. So as long as your hair, like your cuticle is doing what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to like raise up and it's supposed to come down to its normal resting level. That means you have a normal porosity, you have a functioning cuticle. Now that resting position, when the shingles are laying not completely flat, but down, it varies. So some people theirs is a very, very small gap. Some people theirs is naturally just a little bit more. And then some people, theirs becomes more because they get a little bit of damage. It's not naturally like that, but then it will increase their porosity, a little bit of damage, not to the point of cuticle destruction, will raise the cuticle a little bit. So what happens is as water hits the hair and it starts to seep through the cuticle opening between the layers, the inside of the hair strand, which is the cortex, it's like a sponge, and it's just like a sponge. It starts to expand and swell as it absorbs water. So as it's absorbing, it starts to push open more and more, right? So the bigger your natural gap between your cuticle layers is, the more readily the hair strand will take in water. So it's going to absorb more if it's more naturally raised. It's going to absorb less if it's only slightly raised, but it's still able to get wet. That's the difference between low and normal low porosity. So, or a low normal porosity. And then there's medium, which is like somewhere in between. And this is a very like the most manageable hair. It's so easy because it gets wet just fine, doesn't take long at all, but it doesn't absorb a lot of excess water, meaning the water that the hair can't hold in. So just like the inside of the hair strand swelled up, it needs to release water and swell back down for the cuticle to come down to its final resting place. So for hair that absorbed a lot of extra water, it's going to need more water removed to be able to get the cuticle down to its resting place so that it can dry. And it's going to lock in, though, enough moisture for the inner part of the hair strand, the cortex, to still be moisturized and healthy. Now, when we move into high porosity, it's that the cuticle is not coming down enough to seal in the amount of water that the hair strand needs to be healthy. So if it's not coming down enough and it's not keeping in enough, it's going to release more once it's fully dry. And this can the hair ends up feeling dry, but it can be managed with cream-based styling products or leave-in conditioners if you think that your hair needs some of that moisture replenished, if it's likely to release water from the hair. And the same goes for destroyed high porosity. There's a big difference between high porosity that's maybe caused by less severe damage or an imbalance in products. So an alkaline, if you're not having enough acidity in your hair product routine, your cuticle is not going to come down the way that it's supposed to, because products are supposed to be balanced and keep your hair at the pH level that's natural for it, which ranges between like 4.5 to 6.5, but all of that is acidic. Everything above a 7 on the pH scale is alkaline. So things that are alkaline are like relaxers, color treatments, all of these things are alkaline. They're used to keep the cuticle open so that you can make a physical change inside of the hair strand. And then moving into destroyed high porosity, which I was calling it damaged high porosity, but I realize now it's got to be called destroyed high porosity, which sounds really like dramatic and intense, but we have to differentiate, because damage, if it's just damaged, it can possibly be improved and healed, like with protein treatment. If you're actually to have damaged hair, you can do protein treatment. If you should do it with a professional is what I recommend, but do whatever you want. And conditioning treatment can help to improve the condition of the cuticle and make it function better. Now, if it's destroyed, that means that cuticle layers have literally peeled off. They are not there. It's frayed open, and it's left the cortex, that spongy inside, permanently exposed. It cannot be the cuticle cannot be brought back to normal function. It cannot. It's done. Now we need to figure out how are we going to manage this hair when the cuticle is not there to do its job at all. And so that's when certain things come in to try to manage it as it grows out, if you're not ready to cut that hair off, because eventually it will need to be cut off if you want to have a full head of healthy hair, which is up to you. I say hold on to your damage for as long as you want. It's really nobody's business but yours. If you're not comfortable with the length that cutting your damage off will get you to, then don't cut it off yet. Grow it out until you're ready to cut it off. Not everyone's ready to do this, right? You have to want this. I never pressure anyone into this. Nope. Or I never pressure anyone into a shorter length period. I think that how you look that's your business, and you have to look in the mirror and feel good. So that's really important. Anyhow, so yeah, that's it on cuticle condition from me. There's a lot more breakdown, like that just makes it simple to have on hand if you're more of like a visual learner and stuff. That the book will be great for you. It's called Cracking the Curl Code if you're like haven't heard anything about it yet. And it's a simple guide to healthy, effortless hair. And once you have that information, you will have it forever and you can pass it on to your kids and grandkids and whatever you want to do because it's the science of hair. And hopefully it will save a lot of people from the confusion that marketing and sales tactics can create around hair and what we actually need and how to actually figure out what we need and then how to treat it and how to keep it so that we don't have to keep treating it forever. Ideally, just get healthy, stay healthy. So that's what I'm trying to put out there for you guys. What Dennis and I, what our mission is really is just for you guys to have that kind of understanding and really feel like you're in control of what happens to your hair and what you do to it and how it ends up looking. So that's all. I thank all of you who have stayed around, even if you're like not connected at all to the whole Diva Curl situation, that you know you maybe watch and sit through that stuff and you still stick around for the more informative hair science related videos, and there'll be demos as well. It's just been really hard to get both like Dennis and I together in a salon, but like we don't even work in the same place right now. So we will work on that very soon. And yeah, so keep an eye out for the book. Go on the Curl Ninjas with an S.com if you want to sign up for the email list. I've been sending like paragraphs from the book out, and you'll be notified when it's going to be released. So you make sure you don't miss it. And yeah, have a good one, guys.